watching Voice of Canada, and this is Sana Haroon. There is a new twist on an old scam that involves fake Canadian border service agent calling people, claiming that real and illegal packages are being sent across the border in their name.
I have nobody to blame but myself.
Deanna Toms still can't believe she fell for a phone extortion scam.
Mentally, I was at the bottom of the barrel pretty much, and they just got me.
The 57-year-old, who is battling cancer again, got a call last week, supposedly from Border Services. She was told packages bearing her name had been sent across Canada. Inside those packages,
And they had drugs, money, I believe they said weapons.
the agent then told her to catch the real criminal, they needed to freeze her assets. And to secure her funds, she should send them the money using a Bitcoin machine.
I had to go to the bank. I took cash out like an idiot. I took cash out on my credit cards. I drained my savings.
The entire time she was at the bank getting her $23,000, the caller was telling her what to say and what to do. Anytime she questioned his legitimacy, she was told a police officer from Calgary would call her back.
And he called me from the station, the phone number to the police station. So I believed it.
Calgary police say scammers started spoofing their non-emergency number back in 2019, and in reality that number will never show up. Instead, the call display will show blocked. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre has also put out an alert warning these types of frauds are evolving and escalating.
Most of them were calls.
Deanna Toms says she finally clued in when the scammers asked for thousands more, this time for a special prosecutor.
No. And that's when I guess I snapped back into reality, and I knew right there that I was just taken.
A joint task force investigating criminal activities that may have happened at one of Canada's longest running residential schools began the first phase of its search on Tuesday.
I'm kind of glad and sad, in a way. I'm glad they're getting it done, but sad if we find some bodies, or...
After months in the works, Phase 1 of the ground search surrounding the former Mohawk Institute residential school finally begins.
We can't start healing until this is completed.
It's about justice, right? And it's about holding people accountable. It's about holding governments accountable.
The 500-acre area will be searched in grids, starting with the land immediately surrounding the former Anglican church-run, government-funded Mohawk residence. Day couldn't come soon enough.
Well, what reconciliation means to me is you gotta make right all the wrongs that you did all down through the ages.
Henry spent 11 years of his life at the Mohawk Institute, arriving when he was just 6 years old. Dawn Hill, another survivor, came to the institution from 1957 to 1961, and she remembers the violence.
If they heard you talking, they'd call you down and strap you, which left big welts on your hands. Nobody ever hugged you. Nobody ever said something really nice to you.
The survivor-led search using 2 ground-penetrating radar machines is being monitored by the Survivors Secretariat.
There's a number of mandate areas, one of which is coordinating the protocols and processes for the ground search of the Mohawk Institute.
The Joint Police Task Force began their work this morning.
It could be a crime scene, so it's being treated like one. We have members of the OPP that are helping lay out grid searches as if it were a crime scene. And we have officers from the Six Nations Police as well.
The institution operated from 1831 to 1970, making it the oldest and longest running residential school in Canada.
It runs deep, but we're just gonna take it one step at a time.
An Alberta doctor may need to think about buying a superhero costume after saving 2 men in the past 18 months through CPR, then operating on them days later.
It was a routine run along the river, everything about it as ordinary as it could be, except on this August afternoon, something pretty unbelievable was about to happen.
It's either the most implausible coincidence or something else, right?
34-year-old Eric McVeigh collapsed. Time was ticking. His heart stopped. He was at the mercy of a miracle.
Well, those could have been my last breaths. It's hard to really understand how this came about, to be so lucky. But of course, I'm so grateful for Corey and Jennifer that the fact that they were there that day.
The couple, who by chance took a different route out of their Mount Royal neighborhood that same day, hit the intersection at the exact moment Eric just dropped.
So we pulled over, and then when I checked Eric, he had no pulse. And then Jennifer got out of her side of the car, and we both checked again, and neither one of us could find a pulse.
I saw Eric fell, and I was like, this is happening again. It was just wild. Yeah, the chances, I can't even imagine how slim that would be.
The odds of it happening are hard to measure because what's so inconceivable? This has happened to this husband and wife couple before. Months ago, on a hike in Canmore, 60-year-old Daryl Parker suffered a heart attack. The duo was there at the right place, right time, and performed CPR to save his life.
The odds, they continue to be astronomical, and I don't even know how to say it.
I'm a believer in fate. I'm a believer in that things happen for a reason. It's definitely a stroke of luck and a stroke of fate, and whatever you call it, it's unbelievable.
These rescues are even more remarkable because Adams is Dr. Adams. He's a cardiologist. Jennifer is also a physician. After resuscitating these separate strangers, within days of saving them, Dr. Corey Adams performed both of their heart surgeries.
Everybody in the healthcare just has to work at their little piece in order for an outcome like this to occur. And together we can have a big story.
He saved my life, right? But I mean, he also saved my parents and my sister from having to grieve their, son and brother. It's not just my life he saved my whole family.
Construction of Highway 430 would save commuters up to 30 minutes on way, while also generating 3,500 jobs during construction and pump $350 million into the economy.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Stephen, for the introduction. And it's great to be here in Caledon with my good pal, Mayor Alan Thompson, and Joe Mancinelli from Leuna. I want to thank both of them. We're joined by members of our team, Minister Mulrooney, Bethenfalvey, Jones, Tabolo, Tangri, Rashid, and Gill, as well as MPP Sandhu, Anand, Kusandova, Sabawe, and Cazzetto. Our government has a plan for growing a stronger economy, an economy that works for everyone. It's a plan that will protect our progress in our fight against COVID-19, but also looks beyond to the Ontario we want to build, to the future we want for our kids and grandkids. It's a plan that will attract investment, restore and create good jobs in our steel, auto, and manufacturing industries. It's a plan that will unleash the economic potential of our North as we build up homegrown supply chains for electric vehicles and battery manufacturing right here in Ontario. Attracting more investment, restoring good manufacturing jobs, and unleashing our economic potential, none of that is possible without the skilled workers. That's why our government is expanding job training. It's why we're encouraging more young people to enter the skilled trades, while breaking down the barriers that have stopped hard-working newcomers from finding good jobs because of unfair requirements for in-province experience. To attract and keep these workers, we're also investing in Ontario's communities with better health care and stronger local infrastructure. That means saying yes to modern hospitals, more ICU capacity, and building long-term care home beds as we add thousands more nurses and personal support workers. It also is saying yes to building roads and highways to meet the needs of a growing province. And it means saying yes to connecting communities with more public transit. Friends, it's all linked. Ontario's economy is like a machine. If one part of that machine isn't working to its full potential, it holds us all back. But when Ontario is firing on all cylinders, well, world, watch out. There's no other place anyone would rather start a business, work, or raise a family. That's why our government is continuing to build Ontario and will be delivering the much-needed 413 highway. Right now, our 400 series highways are clogged with gridlock. Ask anyone who drives on them and you'll hear the same thing. They're not suitable for the current needs of Ontarians, let alone to handle the influx of new residents who are expected to arrive in Ontario over the next 5 years, Folks, these are staggering numbers. Over 1 million more people are projected to come to the Golden Horseshoe over the next 5 years, and 2 million over the next 10. While we welcome those who will contribute to Ontario's future success, I want you to imagine what that would mean if the current infrastructure was left in place. It would be an absolute nightmare for commuters, for residents, and for families. Real action needs to be taken to fix what's broken. And the fact of the matter is, this should have been addressed many, many years ago. But previous governments chose to say no. They said no to commuters and to families by refusing to see the necessity of suitable highway infrastructure. They said no because they cared more about ideology than about real people. And they said no to hardworking people who just want to get home quickly after long days of work. And they also said no, and they left you to suffer the consequences. Well, that ends now, because this is a government that fixes problems that others didn't care enough to fix. Right now, over 300,000 commuters in York, Peel, and Halton regions experience gridlock every single day. Precious time wasted just sitting in traffic. It just never should be like this. Building Highway 413, a transit and highway corridor across the regions, will save commuters up to 30 minutes one way, 60 minutes two ways. That is 30 minutes not stuck in traffic, or 60 minutes going both ways, not waiting to get back home to the family. So building Highway 413 makes sense for people's lives, no question about that. But getting drivers around more quickly makes economic sense as well, because we know that not only will the new Highway 413 help get people where they're going much faster, it will also help to get goods to market faster, as Steve was mentioning earlier on. The transportation system is the absolute backbone of our export-driven economy. It's 40% of the jobs in the entire sector, and the current infrastructure that you're dealing with is totally inadequate for our mission to build a better Ontario for everyone. The construction of Highway 413 would also create 3,500 jobs and pump $350 million into the economy. This is a win for commuters, it's a win for workers, and it's a win for Ontario. My friends, our government is committing over $145 billion into infrastructure projects. That's why we also just announced plans for the Bradford Bypass, a new 4-lane freeway connecting Highway 400 in Simcoe County and Highway 404 in York Region. We're going to get communities moving again. We're going to get goods moving, and we're going to get this province moving again. Our province has come so far, and we can't afford to go back to the politics of no. Instead, our government is saying yes. Yes to building, yes to investing, and yes to growing. Let's say yes to the better and brighter future that the people of Ontario deserve. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll hand it over to Minister.
I think it's 400 acres, some parts, a small part of it. You have previously promised a number of times that you would not touch the Greenbelt at all. Can you address that change, please?
Well, what I did say is we weren't going to touch the Greenbelt for developers, which we've kept that promise. This is a critical infrastructure project that's going to get people home 30 minutes one way, an hour two ways. It's going to make sure that we get goods to market a lot quicker. It's an absolute critical highway that we need to build for the influx of immigration that we're going to see, and welcome immigration over the next 5 years. We're going to see 1 million more people. These people, right now, actually, the 400 series are clogged with gridlock. You see it every 400 series. You're sitting there in traffic, and this is going to alleviate the problems to a certain degree, and so is the Bradford Bypass. So we're going to move forward on this with consultation of the community, with consultation with the local mayors and the trucking association and other stakeholders. And what we've heard is we're in desperate need of this highway, and we're going to build it, and we're going to make sure we get people from point A to point B in a much faster fashion.
And as a follow-up, I want to ask you about a comment that you and some of your other ministers have made repeatedly in this new highway push, which is to dismiss critics of the highways as ideological activists.
Yep.
But you know that there are people who live along the route of this highway in the municipalities through which it will go. Those municipalities, many of them have actually either stayed neutral or have actually voted to oppose the highway. So they're not downtown ideological activists, are they, in Halton Hills and Vaughan? How do you respond to that?
No, the vast majority of the people in these regions, and they're sitting on the highway for an additional hour, they want to get home a lot quicker. Unfortunately, people up in this area don't have the bicycles that people downtown have, that they can hop on a bike and drive from point A to point B
but
a lot quicker.
But the local councils, though, they know their people, don't they? Why would they oppose it if the local councils up here?
Again, you're talking a very small percentage. We live in a democracy. The majority of the people want this highway. We're building the highway, and you can't be. You're talking about ideology. You can't sit there like the previous government did for 15 years. The NDP and the Liberals stood by while people were stuck in traffic. We want to make sure that we take care of the people and get them home a lot quicker, to get goods to the market a lot quicker, and just sitting there and telling people, hop on your bicycle or get behind a horse and buggy and start driving, it doesn't cut it. That's the ideology of a lot of people that are from downtown Toronto making their comments about up here in Caledon. I can assure you, the people of Caledon, don't worry about the people that live downtown making their ideological comments about building a highway that they're never going to use. It's very simple. We're going to build this highway. We're going to get the province going. We're going to build infrastructure when it comes to highways, roads, bridges, hospitals, and schools. We're going to get this province going. We're going to be spending $145 billion on making sure that we put infrastructure in place. Simple as that.
Hey, good morning, Premier.
Hi,
sticking to your theme of saying yes to everything these days, one thing that your government did not say yes to in the fall economic statement, which was tabled last week, was cutting the gas tax by 5 cents a litre. Just a few days before you said you were going to do it. Can you explain to drivers in Ontario why your government chose not to cut the 5 cents off of the gas tax?
Well, I appreciate your favorite question there, Colin. We're going to commit to making sure that we cut 5.7 cents off before the next budget. We're the only government that's going to be reducing gasoline by 10 cents a litre. And my call for the federal government is match the 10 cents. It's simple as that. People are hurting right now. We're the only government stepping up to put 10 cents per litre back into people's pockets. And I'm asking the federal government to partner with us. Put 10 cents back into people's pockets as well. That's 20 cents. That's a massive amount. Folks, I've said it over and over again. You can spend money a lot wiser than the municipal, provincial, and federal governments. And, that's why I'm asking again, the federal government, put the 10 cents, match us. We'll match you dollar for dollar. If you want to do more, we'll match you. Because it's all about taking care of the people, putting money back in their pocket. And the worst place you could ever give money to is the government.
So you're eliminating all taxes? I'm just...
You know something, Colin? If I could do it, believe me, I would.
Premier, on another note, also to do with the federal government childcare, there are some municipalities that are now talking about bypassing the provincial government and potentially coming up with a deal with the federal government. I'm wondering if you think that that's a wise strategy, if you think that it should be left to the provincial government, and if you can give us an update on where those negotiations are.
Well, we've been working with the federal government, and I've said over and over again, the feds know it. We want a deal, but I'm not going to make a bad deal that's costing taxpayers billions and billions of additional dollars just to make the deal. I'm pleading with the municipalities. Don't divide and try to conquer. That just doesn't work. Let's stay united as a province. When you stay strong and you stay united, we're going to get a much better deal. I'm not in favor of making side deals with the federal government, with the municipality. That's just not right for the people of Ontario. You need to stand together. We need to stay united, and we're going to get a much better deal than if you went it alone. It just makes common sense.
Premier Forum, Morgan Campbell here from Global News. My question's on the push to tap into the Ring of Fire. What is your timeline to begin mining and building in those regions?
Yeah, that's really, really exciting. And this goes back to our message about building batteries. We now have 5 of the big auto manufacturers. They're going full steam. And on one of the calls, I think the CEO said I mentioned batteries 15 times. Well, the good news is now we're going to be building batteries right here in Ontario. We have the natural minerals. We have the graphite. We have the lithium. We have the nickel. We have the cobalt. What better place than build batteries right here. And that goes back to the Ring of Fire. We want to get up there as soon as possible. That's where all the minerals are as well. And these automotive companies are really excited, knowing they have a one-stop shop. You build the batteries, you build the cars here, and it's unlike anywhere in North America that has this proposition. So I'm confident they're going to come, and we're going to get that road built as quickly as possible up to the Ring of Fire.
Great, thank you, Premier. My next question is from Minister Mulrooney.
Keep watching Voice of Canada for further updates. Visit our website voiceofcanada.tv.